Hit me!
Episode 371.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activated.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will.
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring.
Ladies and gentlemen, when the universe tries to send you a message, sometimes it's smart to listen. Other times, you do, NetHeads. Welcome, everybody. My name is Will, and joining me this week is...
What's your name?
I'm Tony.
What's your name?
I'm Tony.
You, Tony!
I've been waiting all week to do that. How sad is that I've been waiting a whole week? That's the moment I was living for, sir. That bit of magic. And you know, the whole thing is, if people aren't on TikTok familiar with Vine or memes, they have no idea what just happened.
Yeah. It's kind of like if you're a Patreon on NetHeads, you will get to see Will either flipping you off or flipping me off, which I thought you were flipping me off. So
No, I wasn't, but yes,
I'm appreciating our friendship every day.
there is a special gem that you can enjoy on the NetHeads Patreon with the bonus audio and video version, because you can always get some of the first few moments of the program that way. While we're getting things ready, usually, or me complaining about something not working, or whatever. But the thing is, it's yours because you paid for it, and you're one of the people that paid for it, and we appreciate you for doing that, even though Tony doesn't see any of that scratch. Anyway, welcome, guys. Another edition of NetHeads coming at you live on April 11th. I hope you're all doing well. Tony, you know what? I just realized something. It has been exactly 3 days. Well, not exactly 3 days. I meant 30 days. It's been almost exactly 30 days. In about an hour and a half, it will have been in exactly 30 days since I tried the amazing new sport of asphalt diving.
Oh,
Yeah, and compared to the picture, which I'm not going to show because it's grotesque, but compared to the picture that we saw the night it happened, right now the only thing is this skin right by the left eye is still working on healing. As a matter of fact, some days this part looks better, but there's like a little Y scar that you can kind of see right in there, and that, my friend, is where the pain lies. No, there's no pain. It's not that. That's actually where it's taking the longest to heal. But I'd imagine, given, I don't know if you've paid attention to the skin immediately underneath your eyelid, your bottom eyelid, but it's a different texture than the rest of your face, and it's really it's kind of it's soft and tender, right? Just like you, Tony, soft and tender. Or is it me that's soft and tender? I don't know. I don't think it's me. I'm hoping it's you. Or actually, maybe I'm soft and you're tender, or you're soft and I'm tender. We don't know.
I
don't make the rules, man.
In the places where it counts.
Excellent. That's exactly where you want to be, soft and tender. So anyway, Tony, I realize now it's been 30 days since that happened, which, by the way, was a giant bucket of suck for the first week for sure, because I fell on my face so hard I got a concussion. I don't know.
And you're obviously better now.
Or I'm still just concussed and have been pushing on. I don't know. Not sure.
I don't know either.
I don't either. Especially since, cognitively speaking, we don't know how with it I was beforehand. Tony, I always like to talk about some tech news. And since we dove in immediately last week to talk about our good friends over at X Twitter, as I like to call it. What do you do? Do you refer to it as X? Do you refer to it as Twitter?
I still call it Twitter, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't. I don't like change much.
Even though Elon Musk, he sold off all the logo items and all the branding and everything, and he tossed it away for an X. He's taken other measures. I don't know if you've heard about this. Have you?
No.
Know where I'm going with this? So, it was in some version of the Mac-oriented version of the application. What it was doing, because I'm sure it really chaps Musk's ass that we still refer to it as Twitter when he wants everybody to call it X. So much so that in the software, if you were to put in twitter.com, it would change your post before it posts to x.com. Can you believe that?
Really?
Yeah, seriously, that happened. Now I say happened because in like the latest article I read, they claim that maybe they've rolled back that change and it's not happening now. But believe it or not, you know what I'm thinking? I'm starting to think that Elon Musk is letting AI both write the software now and come up with the ideas. Because he probably sat down with a language learning model, and he said, you know what? Hey, ChatGPT, I'm really pissed that everyone still refers to X as Twitter, and there are still Twitter links. What can I do to fix this? And it would seem like an AI answer to say, well, if you encounter twitter.com in a post, let's just change it to X. It's like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I could roll with that. Now, interestingly enough, people on the internet, last week we started off with a security story too, come to think of it. Security experts instantly said, guys, this is an introduction to for the potential of a misdirection spam attack, given opportunity for phishing. And the example they made is they actually bought a domain, so that way it couldn't be exploited when used in the example. And then they posted the domain in there. And what they did is they booked the domain netflitwitter, NETFLI, twitter.com. And then they posted about their site in a post, and it came across as Netflix.com. So you can just see, thank you, Benjamin, for joining us. So I'm sure you're starting to see the potential somebody could use for a phishing scam or the like in order to get Netflix credentials, I guess, in that example. Another person bought the domain SE Twitter, and that changed it to SEX.com. So, not exactly the brightest bulb in the bunch. The last thing you want to do is do anything where it's going to change content management in a way to where you can mask what the end result is. The choices going on at that company never cease to amaze me.
I honestly believe that Elon just does whatever comes in his head. It's like have you ever seen Glass Onion?
Yes, I have. Yes.
I believe Ed Norton is the Elon Musk. Like, it's just waking up. I thought of this, and he just faxes just weird stuff to them. And I'm surprised they probably don't have windows at the X headquarters where he requires people to be physically present, because I imagine they would want to jump out of the windows.
Look, I'm not kidding, man. Okay. I'm not kidding here. I'm not attacking the dude. First of all, wait a second. I think we got a phone call. Yep. It's from Elon right now in response to that.
You, Tony!
Okay, thank you for that. Secondly, that button's going to get a lot of use when you're on the show, man. I'm just saying.
I'm so glad about that. I'm gonna make sure my mom watches the show now.
Oh yeah, definitely, and your child. I think that's the best. Let's make sure your child's watching too.
Yeah, because he's gonna start doing that. No, we're not gonna do that at all. You're not gonna get that viewer.
How is he walking around with a bleep machine? That's what I want to know. How is he censoring on the fly? Anyway,
you've forgotten, like, little boys at like 9 years old can make those sounds without having to worry. Their voices haven't pitched and things haven't descended yet.
Good point. And way more than I need to know about your kid, dude. Anyway, the thing, I never made the correlation, but I think that you're on the money, that Ed Norton really was portraying an Elon Musk type character with probably some elements inherited in. The ideas, the decisions going on there, they just mystify me. But, and again, I'm not meaning to come off as beating up on a guy who could buy and sell me at will and shut down most of the venues that I would be distributing content through. But there's also, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there was something where he was in a deposition. I don't know what it was for. And the transcript of the deposition came out. and like the things in there. Every time it popped up in a news article, it was basically like the deposition Elon Musk doesn't want you to read. The deposition that Elon Musk doesn't want you to know about. And it's like, or, you know, the Musk deposition he doesn't want you to hear about. Here's the 10 best moments. Those types of things. And like in there, we find out he has a burner account where he role plays as his toddler kid. Of all things. I don't know why he would do that. Anyway.
Okay. That word role play has a very broad statement. What do you mean by role playing?
Like textually role playing as a toddler who was somehow on Twitter, somehow busting wide open the whole user and end user license agreement where you got to be a certain age. But yeah, you know, just like, and it would just be stupid, benign comments. Like, you know, I really like cheese. There should be more cheese in the world. That kind of stupid thing. That's just a made up example, by the way. I'm not saying that's what he said.
Okay. Okay. We're just, that man, I don't understand him. I really don't. And again, we're not going to attack him because I don't need him to call and F me again, but I'm just saying like, okay, that didn't sound right. But people with a lot of money, I don't understand them at all. I don't get it.
I think, you know, unfortunately, I don't think I'll ever be able to test out the theorem in real life. You know, seeing what happens if you take a person who's like been up through humble means their entire life and pulling themselves up by the bootstrap. You know, do they just become a clueless asshole if they suddenly become a billionaire? I don't think I'll be able to ever test out that theorem.
Let's say we do have at least one case for a positive outcome for that. I would say with Mr. Beast. Dude's done a lot of good stuff. Yes, he was young when he got it, but it proves that if you have money, you can do a lot of good and still have a lot of money. And Elon's not that.
Clearly. Anyway, so I guess we got to come up with a jingle or something because it's kind of like beating up on Twitter again this week. I realize there are still
beating up on X.
Whatever. I realize there are sites that I maintain where we still need to do the cutover because the social media icon is still the one versus the other. And I assume that's not going on at Nerd Initiative. You guys are probably on top of it, right?
Sure.
Okay, we'll roll with that.
Let me go check that out real quick.
Let me, what the hell did I just say? Oh my God. Anyway, I don't know. Hey, Tony, I'm going to regret asking this question. If you don't mind divulging, how old are you again?
I'm 40. I'm 40 for the next 8 days, and then I'm 41.
Okay. So you know what? Like today, even though we didn't mention that we were going to mention it, I think it goes without saying that, you know, somebody, hello, Michelle, on the message board, on the messaging, something culturally happened because there was a death today. You know, O.J. Simpson passed away. But I mean, like, what's being a good decade younger than me? What's your cultural awareness of that? Because all I know is, well, I was in my 20s when his stuff went down. So you were a teenager.
I was in, okay, I'm sorry to say this. When the verdict, his not guilty verdict was announced, I was in seventh grade. I was in 7th grade.
I was driving around on a break from work.
I remember the Bronco. I remember all of that stuff. I remember that they were selling outside of the jail these little toy Broncos that people could take into the jailhouse, and he would sign them for him.
That is next level messed up, really.
Yep.
Anyway,
I also remember that I had an O.J. Simpson rookie card that I was super excited to have, and then all of that went down. I'm like, well, there goes that money.
Not really, because you know, now you could have it goes full circle because now this is from an innocent or a more innocent time. You know what I mean? It might have had its value again, but you know. The only thing I'll say about it is because just of all the weirdness that happened around The Bad Thing, and all the stuff that followed, is, the one takeaway I always had after the stuff hit the fan was just basically it's just so sad that it completely ruined the Naked Gun movies for me from that day forward.
Yeah.
And that's the real tragedy in my opinion. But,
Well, I mean, beyond, what happened to, yeah, I mean, if we're talking on a selfish level, sure. But let's just say this. A lot of memes came out of that, a whole lot of things. I mean, it touched every aspect of pop culture when you think about it.
oh yeah.
Oh, remember the whole if the bra doesn't fit on Seinfeld?
Dude, it was parodied in many ways. I mean, I think to this day, sometimes somebody will still slip in a white truck car chase on a freeway into a show. You know what I mean? It's still, I think, culturally speaking, has significance. But yeah, we've seen all kinds of messed up memes about it today too. It's interesting to see the way the internet deals with certain celebrities when they pass.
I like the one where it says O.J. Simpson remains alive because the coffin didn't fit.
So death must acquit. That's dark. Yeah. Or the other one showing that the hearse that would take him is an extended Ford Bronco.
Yeah.
People are ugly. People are ugly, and they come up with ugly things when people die. I mean, it's just such a bummer because up until that point, he was the funny guy in the Naked Gun movies. He was the sports hero who was running through airports for probably, I think it was Hertz Rent-A-Car. And like Miranda Janelle says, it was weird watching a hero fall in real time, which is very much true.
Which was the first of it. If you really think about it, like we, even with social media now, you'll see people that you like, that you followed, that you thought were really great. And you think, oh, these people are really great role models. And then all of a sudden, either if it's a couple like account, they break up, or this person's done something really horrible and they get caught in it. And there's a lot of exposure now, more so. Like you hear things like you heard about, this director doing this, and then goes over to Europe and goes in hiding, and some people talk about it, some people don't. And then there's, the accusations that went against Michael Jackson, but O.J. Simpson's was probably the most public and was the most exposed of all of the controversies at the time. And it just kind of cascaded from there.
Also, I almost think in a certain way, you can probably trace some of the idea of reality television back to how massive the court case footage was. There were people I knew that were listening to the trial on the radio all day while working.
I had a friend whose, I think it was her aunt, had one of those big screen TVs, and the court TV O.J. Simpson trial bar was burned into the screen, so that no matter what you were watching, it said court TV O.J. Simpson trial. Like it was like deep. It wasn't even like a shadow. It was like a very deep burn into the screen.
That's
back
because
before
people
they
didn't know better back in the day. They never thought, oh, maybe we should change that that lower third. I almost called it a chyron. That's dating myself as well. But yeah, man, it's amazing the way it, because obviously it's also, I think, probably one of the first mass media cases of like true crime obsession as well. Because I know there were people that were talking about it. It's amazing true crime didn't pop off sooner than it did, given the massive impact on the social consciousness that trial had.
Well, I think it did. I think it didn't happen as quickly because, let's face it, the O.J. Simpson trial was a very high profile. Like everyone knew, they may not have known Nicole Simpson, but they knew O.J. Simpson from either sports or from or from movies. It was one of those things, and them allowing it to be public gave them an idea. And I think that's why court TV did so well for so long, because they had the monopoly on it. And again, now you look at, like we had, like on Phantoms, we had, the true crimer on TikTok and YouTube, that it's very much a thing. And you've got things like Crime Junkies, and you've got Sword and Scale, which that's a whole other story. And you've got all of these different, avenues now that are doing the same thing. And then the docuseries happened. And then you had the first 48 hours and you had, all of these different shows. And I mean, it was just like a magnification of what you would get on normally like 2020 or 60 Minutes. And it gave people an understanding that they could get a whole lot more, and they wanted it and they were feeding into it. It's just, I don't think they knew how to process that and allow it to happen, so that they could like optimize, what's the word? They could monopolize on it like immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely was man, I never realized just how deep cuts that has become in the origin of so many different aspects of entertainment. Not to mention, I think like one of the first things, no, never mind. It was a weird time around that time too, because we also had the Menendez brothers, right?
Yep. You had the Jodi Arias case. You had, a number of things that came out. I mean, look at what happened. I mean, the only thing that I could compare to the O.J. Simpson trial that really, really like resonated with me was like the Johnny Depp, Amber Heard defamation case.
That, again, another weird impact on the social consciousness. I think the best moment I had around that, I'm sorry to cut you off, but the best thing I had around that was, because there was a while TikTok was just unwatchable if you didn't want to know about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. I mean, it was to the point, because I follow Stephen Amell, the Green Arrow.
Yep.
Okay. I follow him. Because he did a lot of funny stuff on TikTok. But the greatest thing that ever happened was I'm scrolling, and then literally, I think it's even one of the videos on my feed, and it's Stephen Amell saying, look, I'm enjoying it as much as everybody, but that's about enough of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard. The very next video in my feed was her on the stand crying. So it's just like one followed by the other. It's like, oh, guess whatever.
Yeah, but see where the O.J. Simpson trial, like you knew, you may not have known the other lawyers' names, but you came out of the O.J. Simpson trial knowing Johnny Cochran.
Oh yeah, man.
Tell me a single name for any of Amber Heard's lawyers, but you do remember them because of the stupid crap they said.
I remember Marcia Clark.
Oh yeah, yep.
I do not remember I think because wasn't there like an assistant DA that was also working with her? I don't remember that. Anyway, you know what? I don't want to. Let's not rehash the old days. You brought it current with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, and I appreciate that. But wow, I never realized the cultural impact that he had. That threw me for a loop. What? Huh. And here I thought we were going to talk about promotional cans.
Oh yeah, we
for the start of the show.
Yeah.
Now I didn't even know this was a thing. Okay, I'm not very advanced in things, but I do know that there are certain people that have, they've run limited labels on like wine, and then you run an app on it, and the bottle might change a little bit. But you've stumbled across something I wasn't even aware of happening in the soda industry. Please tell us about this.
Okay, so I'm going to be honest. I didn't kind of stumble on this. Like I was made aware of it early on. And this is what conversation we've had. So if you're watching this, NetHeads, this involves internet. If you're a content creator, know your worth, because Will and I have had some conversations about me underselling myself. And this was one of the things that I undersold myself for, and I'm kicking myself for. I had somebody from Publicity with Coca-Cola reach out to me at the beginning of March and said, hey, we're doing a Marvel Coca-Cola collab. Send us your rates. And there's an event happening in New York. We'd love that if you're able to attend, you can attend. My thought was, you get me there, or you at least let me know where it's at, and I show up, I will give you absolutely free promotion. Like I think the most I asked for to make a video for it was $50, and I did it for free. You saw the videos I did on TikTok. Because let's face it, if it's Marvel and Coca-Cola, I will do it. They could have done a lot of things to me, but so I knew there was a collab going on, that pretty much, and so I knew a collab was happening. I didn't know any specifics other than that, and I knew the date. So then I went on to Reddit. and I started looking, and I found a guy who was working with production, and he had seen some of the prototypes, and he explained that there was possibly something with AR. And so I have been looking for this, and so I caught it rather early. I caught it right before the event, because the event was supposed to be like the 6th and 7th. And a bunch of my mutuals went, which I'm extremely jealous for. But Marvel and Coca-Cola are making a series of cans. Now, they've done cans before. Marvel has done cans with like Dr. Pepper and Mountain Dew and stuff for Age of Ultron, but this is the second Coca-Cola collab they did. They did a number of years ago after Civil War. During the Super Bowl, they had Ant-Man and the Hulk, in a commercial, which had a whole bunch of Easter eggs that took you through, Twitter, beep, beep, X, Snapchat, and whatever else. And if you got to the end and you found the code, they would send you the mini cans, and they had the mini cans of all the different characters, which I got. But now they've got a number of these, and there's a lot of them coming out on the Coke Zero and on the original Coca-Cola cans. So for this one, you can barely see it. I have Daredevil, and then on this one, I have Captain Marvel, and then on this one, I have Iron Man, and there's going to be, Shang-Chi, Sam Wilson's Cap. They've got a Super Skrull, Nick Fury, the Hulk, which is funny because it looks more like the Red Hulk. And these cans, when you go to the website on your phone, you can actually, first of all, scan the can, and it will bring an AR character up, and so you can see the character, which you can kind of interact with. And it will keep collection of what you've got, so you can see what you have and what you need digitally. And then some of them actually will team up. So there is a Wolverine and there is a Deadpool can, and if you put them together and scan them, they will do something together, and it's very cool. But if you get as many as you can, you're entered into a contest, and I guess whoever gets all of them, or who gets all of them first, will either be selected for a 5-day cruise on a Disney Cruise Line with a Marvel Day at Sea, or they'll go to and I love how the title says it, because it's like they couldn't actually say it, is they'll go to a Marvel booth at a major Comic-Con in New York, but they couldn't say New York Comic-Con, which is exactly what it is.
Wait. Why can't they do that? Because then you're marketing. York Comic-Con doesn't allow to market their brand. Is it kind of like how we can't say the Super Bowl?
Well, no, it's like it. So they can say the Disney cruise because Disney owns the cruise, Marvel collab, but they're providing them to go to a booth to a convention in New York, but they don't have the right to be able to say New York Comic-Con because this is not a partnership with ReedPop, even though ReedPop, I don't know. ReedPop is an interesting company. I love them. I love them absolutely, because I'll be seeing them in Chicago at C2E2. And I do love New York Comic-Con. But I'll tell you, these comic convention places, they're very picky about using their image and their colors and their titles. So yeah, it's a convention in New York.
Well, San Diego Comic-Con went after what used to be the Salt Lake Comic-Con, because they had a wrapped branded car at Comic-Con, at which point Comic-Con's like, no, that you make it seem like you're affiliated. Comic-Con is our thing. You've got to stop doing it. And then it became Fan X. So yeah, they're really sensitive about some of these things.
Oh yeah,
just a little bit.
Oh yeah, like I'll be very honest with you. Nerd Initiative has had 2 major copyright strikes against them. It was a mistake on our part. We reposted a video of a fan interaction with some actors at Fan Expo that Fan Expo had posted, and we had to be very careful and take a class to make sure we didn't do anything wrong again. And because they're very picky, they're looking for it, and they will report you. Like, they want to keep what's theirs as theirs.
Yeah, man. Don't mess with the big houses, because they will come after you. Right? That's the lesson to be learned there. So I think the part that amazes me the most is the team up aspect that you mention, because that's not really something you'd expect them to push. It seems like a bit of extra effort and a lot of stuff they may have to pay for.
Let's face it, Marvel makes them money. They're going to do whatever they want, and Coca-Cola is helping foot the bill for some of this. I mean, what is Disney not doing with their stuff? I mean, we're gonna get Fortnite Worlds with Disney, so an AR scanning thing, that's nothing at all. I'm
True.
just surprised by the amount of actual cans that they are producing. Like, it's not like collect all 7 cans. There are like there's like between 7 and 16 cans, I think, per. And the thing is, it's not just this can and this can. It's also the tall cans and it's the bottles too. So there are variations in multiple different, mediums of the Coke products.
This one hell of a licensing deal. That's all I'm going to say. It's especially interesting that it's so many characters. So that's how you know this is, for some reason, this is something Coca-Cola must have wanted. And I say that because right now, Marvel, the MCU, has all of their bags in one basket, if you know what I mean. And that basket belongs to Wolverine and Deadpool, for lack of a better term. So, I'm amazed that that's happening on such a broad level, because I really would have expected something more along the lines of them just wanting to do nothing but push Deadpool and Wolverine. But then again, maybe this is like the precursor collab, and Marvel and Coke was like, yeah, we'll do it, but first we want to do this, and that'll lead us into that.
Well, this also feeds more into the comics as well. I mean, yes, it's very much, they're very reminiscent to the MCU characters, but it's very much a comic book thing too. Like, I don't know, have you seen the trailer for this?
For what?
For this collab?
No.
Later on, you need to go look it up. It's literally like it's a comic book shop. This girl is wearing a Juggernaut shirt and she's leaning into like an owned page of like New York City, and Juggernaut like imposes himself into that world and is causing a big problem. And the Avengers are coming out of the comic books around her, like trying to get her a Coke to get her to stand up, so she's not leaning into the New York City image anymore. Like it's silly, but it's actually kind of genius. Like Colossus jumps in, Daredevil's like trying to get the can out, and Wolverine's there, and they're like all working together trying to get this can where it needs to go. And you see Deadpool just kind of sitting on a rafter like eating a chimichanga or something.
A more prepared presenter may have had that video ready for us to run in real time and then do commentary on. But
well, I never mentioned it, so it's my fault more than it's your fault.
Yeah, it's not that kind of show, I guess. Anyway, yeah, I'm still kind of. I hope this also means that it is going to lead into something that's a bit about Deadpool and Wolverine, especially the entire internet. Like, I think at the beginning of this week was all abuzz because once again, in the movie industry now, or as entertainment consumers, we get spoiled now in ways we didn't know. First of all, there are toilers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Familiar with what a toiler is?
Oh yeah. Yep. Number of years ago with was it Captain America Civil War? There was a big deal because Lego had released a Germany, was it an airplane, like the airport scene, and it had a giant man.
Oh. Okay, yeah, that would definitely have been what we would call a spoiler for sure. And there have been other ones too, like at least costume-wise with Spider-Man No Way Home, for example. We saw that. So toilers have happened. They've been around for a long time. As a matter of fact, the end scene of Endgame was leaked as a Lego because it saw Tony. It had Tony in it and something else, and they were working on, in one area, the tech Infinity Gauntlet that he makes.
Right.
So, there's spoilers that way, but now we're going into an entirely new direction where I think like movie theater cups are spoiling things. I know it, like, actually with Captain Marvel, the Marvels, that one had a spoiler because of, and which we talked about, which is, one of the bonus things that for the popcorn box or whatever was a Flurkin egg.
Yeah, which didn't make any sense until you watched the movie. So
exactly,
should have been.
dumb thing. But the internet has been all abuzz about what they saw in a cup in this past week, because it's the first time we have a depiction. I'll put it this way. An officially licensed depiction of Wolverine wearing the cowl.
Oh, yeah.
Damn near comic accurate, and even more so. This is the interesting thing, because I will admit I have sadly blown this image up and taken a hard look at it. It looks like it is a cowl, and then you can kind of see what looks like, at a minimum, like, you know, the grease paint we'd expect with the black makeup. But then it's got the one thing that we all always want to see: the white eyes.
Yes. Yes.
Which, by the way, we should have seen coming, because Deadpool has been all about that look since the first iteration of the full-blown mask. So we should have seen it coming.
Oh, yeah.
But somehow we're all shocked and we're all excited about it. The whole thing is, I love this whole concept that they're doing with this movie, and I'm really hoping that they pull from at least some reference material from the comics, because Hugh Jackman got to play a wonderful character for a number of years, and got to send it off in a way that was damn near poetic, right? And they seem to have found the perfect way to also bring him back for one last hurrah, which is just also, if this is the last Deadpool movie we ever get, based on the first few minutes of Deadpool 2 alone, right? It's only fitting that the third part of this saga is him in a movie with Wolverine. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, to be exact.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I love the whole thing. And that's the reason why I think we are really, really, how do I put this appropriately?
Let me say this.
Go ahead.
I get you're saying, like, they had a proper send-off for Logan, and, you know, they found a good way to bring him back. I don't think they did. And I'm hoping that they didn't. I'm hoping that they do the most indignant thing. I want him to show up after Logan's been buried to dig him back up. Like, I want that. I'm sorry. Like, I'd be like, it's like, okay, nap time's over, buddy. And just, like, you just start shoveling. Like, that's...
See, but if they do that, bro, okay, if they do that, then it's something that's almost as messed up, right, as something that happened, I think, in the TV show Torchwood with Captain Jack Harkness, who you're not familiar with.
I've met him, though. I'm already through season 1. I'm into season 2 now, so I've at least met Captain Jack Harkness.
Okay. With the empty child and the doctor dances. You've seen him in those 2 episodes.
Yep.
Okay. So, in the show, bit of a spoiler for something coming up, but something happens and he's going to be blessed with eternal life, okay?
Okay.
So, in a messed up story in Torchwood...
He died at the end of season 1 of the new Doctor Who, and then was immediately brought back to life by Rose. So it's not like...
Okay, so you know the event that happened then. The only thing I've possibly spoiled is the fact that that's going to be a revelation. Okay. So in Torchwood, I think it was, he at one point somehow gets abandoned back 1,000 years. Let's just say it's 1,000 years. Some horrible number. 1,000 years is incredibly horrible. He's left behind and buried in a coffin. Okay? And he keeps coming back to life. So that means that in my mind, for 1,000 years, he has been expiring, coming back into an environment with no air, expiring. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's an absolute nightmare. If he digs him up and there is a Wolverine, a Logan in that thing that has now reverted back to regenerating, same story.
Mm-hmm.
Same exact horrific visage you've now put in my brain. Are you proud of yourself?
Yes, I am. Absolutely, I am.
Excellent.
Like,
I'm glad.
Could not be better. And then Zeb has a great idea. Like, he doesn't dig him up until after he pees on the grave. Like that. Yes. Like, that is a Deadpool thing. Like, absolutely.
Fair enough.
Now, here's the thing, though. I will say this. The cup that you have been talking about, that we've been mentioning here in the show.
Oh, don't tell me it's a mock-up.
No, it was released at CinemaCon, and CinemaCon is currently occurring right now. And today, I believe it was today, was the Disney announcements, the Disney show, the Disney event. And they showed a few minutes of Deadpool Wolverine. And it was the spoilers if you guys don't care, but they may not even be in the movie, but I think it's worth talking about. Deadpool and Wolverine are walking through a tunnel. Wolverine makes the comment about, I can't believe that they're bringing this character from Secret Wars, that the person is going to be, and before he gets started and says who the character is, a phone rings. Wolverine pushes Deadpool off to the side and immediately starts breaking the fourth wall and cursing at whoever's phone is ringing in the auditorium. And immediately you have Deadpool talking about how it turned him on, and he goes, by the way, great job on your first fourth wall break. I didn't think you had it in you. So, already this movie has hit a lot of little things that I've looked forward to, and I'm absolutely loving this, because as much as people would be like, oh, well, Wolverine shouldn't be doing that. No, if you've ever and this is the thing that I hope for. We may not get Deadpool any further in the MCU, but I hope we do, because I want a Deadpool Spidey, either a series or a movie or some moment, because there's literally a conversation that Spider-Man has with Deadpool where they're sitting down and Deadpool explains why he talks off in the distance, and he tells Spider-Man that they are in a comic book. And Spider-Man is asking him questions, entertaining the idea, just thinking that he's crazy, but asks, do people like me? And he's like, oh yeah, people like you. And it's all this whole big thing. And then he's like, I don't believe you. I don't believe this is real. And I want those moments. I want Deadpool to push the fourth wall, and I want people to be like, could this possibly be real? What is this? Because everywhere he's around, it's kind of like what was it, Christopher Reeve's Superman? As long as you were touching him, you could go out of the atmosphere and didn't have to worry about not breathing or being injured because you're just touching him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want people that are in the close vicinity of Deadpool to be slightly aware that there is a fourth wall and that he is actually breaking it.
Or maybe he's just humoring humoring Deadpool, and he's looking off in the distance the same way he does, but he's not really, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Well, in that example, though, clearly he's fourth wall breaking. I don't know why I'm so confused, because, man, I tell you. Hey, Tony, let me ask you. You talked about the Coca-Cola collab, right?
Yes.
So I got a question then. Me, I'm a major coffee drinker, right? I've already said there's more than a dozen different ways I could make coffee in my house right now if I wanted to. I'm a coffee addict. Some days it just doesn't hit though. What are your, I don't even know if you have them, but if any, what are your caffeinated trips, methods? What do you do?
So I am a former barista. So when it comes to coffee, I have the full automatic espresso machine. I have bags and bags of coffee grounds and coffee beans in my freezer. I have the exact blend. I ordered it from the country that it comes from, that Starbucks has for their nitro cold brew, and I've retrofitted a bar tap to do nitro cold brew coffee.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't drink it very often. I'm kind of a social coffee drinker. And so mainly I'm a soda guy. So Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi. I'll do that. I used to do the Red Bull a lot, but with heart conditions running in the family, I'm trying to at least be a little bit basic when it comes to caffeine.
You know, I last week I kind of showed you something I was sent, and this past week now, I've been using it for 5 days straight. Because there are some mornings that the coffee just doesn't help. It just doesn't hit right. It's the best way to put it. And so I got this stuff, and I'm just kind of amazed, because not only has it helped me on those days, I've had good consistent energy all week, but also the crazy thing is I've been mad focused and sharp, right? Because I don't know, in case you haven't noticed,
which is a good thing because of the concussion. So
yeah. So it's an instant sign that things are improving. But also, in case you haven't noticed, in speaking with me, I'm always going to try and find the joke. I'm always going to try and say something to elicit a laugh. And this week, I'm telling you, I've been on my game. So it's crazy and it's nutty. but also it's green. And I would have thought, oh no, a green solution, that's going to taste like wheatgrass or something, right? No. This little bottle, it's like a little energy shot, right? You know, it looks like the exact same kind of thing for other like energy things, but this one instead, it uses all natural stuff in order to help enhance your focus. It gives you more energy without any jitter. It's just an amazing kind of thing. It's called Magic Mind. Have you heard of it?
I have. Isn't there a code that I can get like a good discount on this?
Yeah, actually, if you go to the link in the show description, or if you go to magicmind.com and you use the code NetHeads20, you can get 56% off your subscription or 20% off your first purchase. And if you're wondering why I'm talking about this, it's because I used it and it's working and it's amazing. It's got all natural stuff. So the caffeine kick comes from matcha. It's got that in there. It's got ashwagandha, which has been used medicinally since 6000 BC. It's an adaptogen that reduces stress and anxiety. You know, Tony, one of the things I announced in the preamble of the show is that the air conditioner in our house once again died, right?
Yeah.
Which, hot house, hot people, hot situation. I came in hot, not in that way though. I came in hot, but I've rebounded so well. My stress and anxiety, they're gone. My favorite thing, because I'm a big mushroom man, right? I'm a big mushroom man. I believe in mushrooms. They're an excellent source of fiber, vitamin D.
Okay.
They're a good product. But there are other types of mushrooms, like lion's mane mushrooms. It's the fluffiest mushroom out there. It's another nootropic and adaptogen. It reduces anxiety and inflammation while supporting cognition, preventing neural degeneration, and stimulating neural regeneration, right? And then this one might sound a little scary, but there's the cordyceps mushrooms in there too.
Ooh. Now listen, that yeah, exactly. Now, you know what? You did take me for a mushroom man. I kind of was aware of that.
I'm kidding. It's not one of the ones from The Last of Us, though, but it's a powerful one nonetheless, okay?
No, and it has been used for other things. And like, yes, there is that potential, storyline that people always talk about. But no, but I'm being serious. Like, I always thought, this guy likes mushrooms. Like, you seem like a fun guy.
You, Tony!
Look, man, if you're wondering why I even entertain this, it's because, like I said, some days coffee just isn't enough. And recently, with the fall and ear infections and everything else, I was running like a higher blood pressure as well. So I needed to find a way to get energy in order to carry on without like bumping the entire system up. And that's what this does. And I love the fact that it's all natural ingredients. They also have, I swear, they've got guava or something in here, because it's not like lemongrass sweet. It's like sweet, like a guava kind of sweet,
Okay, so you're saying not only is it good for you, but it doesn't taste bad, because typically you have to give up one thing for the other for most things.
No, and with this you don't. It tastes good. Now the beautiful part is I've been using it in tandem with coffee. Like I'll have my Magic Mind, then I'll drink my coffee, and then I'm in a perfect world. Look at me, I'm still buzzing from this morning, man. No, not really. It's probably because, but no, seriously,
that's the secret ingredient that's causing you to be buzzing.
It really has added in an amazing experience for me, and the crazy part too is that because people will tell you, oh no, man, it's to help improve focus and give you better mental energy, but honestly, the very first day I started taking it, I did something I have not been doing in the longest time. I put together a list of all the things I have to do. All right? I put together the list. Now, the great news is not only was I able to put together the list, but I was aware enough to realize, the reason why I don't get things done is because this list is so big. That's executive dysfunction. I'm going to be in analysis paralysis on this, because with so many things to do, why bother trying? But putting down the list and looking at it with my new positive mental focus, I'm like, okay, let's pick some simple things, get them off the list, create a feeling of accomplishment. I wasn't doing that before. I was just like, there's so much to do. Forget it. I'm not doing anything. I'm done.
No, that is the common thing. So So it kind of helps because if you're like a person that hyperfixates and has issues with focusing, this could definitely be a help. Not a solution completely, but it could be the help.
You know, if you want to find out on your own, I highly recommend it again, guys. You can look at the link in the show description, or also if you just want to use our code NetHeads20 at magicmind.com, you can save up to 56% on a subscription or 20% off your first purchase to try it out. And I am,
Yes.
I tell you, I am now at the point, I am now at the point where it used to be I go to bed and I start thinking about that first cup of coffee in the morning, Tony. Okay? I dream about it. I think about it. Now,
Will, I think you have a problem.
hush. Now,
You, Tony!
now, I'm looking forward to my magic mind and then my coffee. Can you believe it? It's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, give it a shot, guys. Give it a try. We're going to be talking about it for a little bit, and I highly recommend it, man. I didn't even know what adaptogens were before this. Now I knows.
Really? Because
Power
like,
of my mind.
I probably, if you would have explained it, I would have probably thought adaptogens was like another version of Transformers.
You know what? I got scared, man. I got scared when I learned I was drinking cordyceps, but then they told me, no, not the ones in The Last of Us, but these will help your brain.
Let's just say it helps things click.
Yeah. I don't do that right, but my favorite
That was
thing
pretty good.
every like Halloween scare place you went to this year, they always had somebody in the cordyceps costume, and then to make it simple, they'd have like a little, what are those, maracas?
Oh,
or something?
or the cat clickers, like for training your animals.
Oh yeah. They'd have that. It's a clever idea. You know, I fell for it. I went for it.
I love that whole trend with Last of Us. I look forward for it coming back. Like my favorite video I did in response to that was one where it was like seeing your mother-in-law in the store, and it was that sound of like the clickers, and I was like trying to hide. So absolutely.
You know, the whole thing is, I don't like, I hope they've already shot some, actually, first of all, and this is like rehashing really old stuff, but can we just for a moment stop and recognize the fact that some of the best storytelling was done on The Last of Us, and it's an adaptation of a video game, right? Yeah. Entire episode of two guys falling in love. Like, we forgot about the whole story. We were just in this moment. It's like, man,
that was a great episode. That was an absolutely good episode.
This is next level. I didn't see this coming. You know, I never knew I would be so happy to hear Nick Offerman giggle, okay? At a strawberry, no less, people. Amazing storytelling. Anyway, you know, Tony, we've gone long. I've got bread to do stretch and folds with, but I think one of the things that we've kind of got to talk about, I don't know how to do it. If you want to find out what the 3D printed item of the week was, you can check out my TikTok. Long story short, I used some Pet G to print up a new basket for my pool skimmer because I went to go clean out the old one, and literally the bottom fell out of it and it split down the side.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I found one. I was able to adjust it in size to where it would fit, and just print it up. 6 hours later, I had a basket. I'm going to let that one go, and I did buy two more, like some spares, but I'm going to let that one die before I do it. The thing that you would appreciate, Tony, people that don't 3D print would not appreciate it, but ones that do. In order to not do any supports, it printed like the basket was sitting on the plate, build plate like that, right?
Right.
And it came up, and then it just had a little tapered lip instead of an entire collar, I think is the appropriate term. And then on the bottom, the collar printed flat as a ring outside of the basket. So they're two pieces together, but in the middle there, and it had the opposite bevel. So that way, after it was done printing, you just slide it up, glue it, and it pops right into place. No supports
awesome.
needed. That is, I love good engineering when it comes to 3D printing. So if you have a Hayward skimmer, or generally anyone, you could get this, and you got some Pet G laying around. I say Pet G because it's like PUBG, but I think some people say PETG. I don't know. I'm not an expert.
I've got it. I don't know what to do with it. So yeah, it's fine. I'll make a skimmer, but I don't have a pool.
I've got clear of it, and I could do nearly clear, like acrylic sheets of it, but then you're running with no fan. And it's really hot. Sorry, I just had a coughing attack. But what I want to say, without any spoilers, I think the other thing I just kind of want to hit on is that for those of you that may need it, I believe Tony is offering counseling after X-Men 97's episode 5. Is that the case?
Yeah. So yeah, I had to do it. It was funny. Like I did 2 videos. I did one was the callbacks to Easter eggs video, which because I want to get back into that. And then I was in bed last night thinking I need to get up and I need to do a video where I'm giving myself therapy. And then I thought after doing it, I'm like, you know what I need to do? I need to do one of those videos where people could duet it and they could talk about their emotional trauma from the episode. And so I did kind of like what Steve did from Blue's Clues, where it's kind of like you have for the next couple seconds, go ahead and tell me your woes. And I just sat there like I was actually paying attention and taking notes. So if you need therapy, just go to my TikTok and you can definitely get a couple minutes of counsel for free.
And without going into details, I'll just put it this way. Back in my day, I love saying this kind of stuff now. Back in my day, Tony, okay, there was a TV show called Transformers, right? Real simple, more than meets the eye. They robots that turn into cars and guns and cannons and boom boxes and the like. But then they said, you know what? We want to start a new toy line. Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an animated movie. And in the first 5 minutes of that, we are going to dramatically kill most of the Transformers that these kids know.
That way we can introduce all new ones.
Now, I'm not saying this was a ploy for toys, but let's just say the same level of drama might exist in episode 5 of X-Men 97. Now that it's 5 episodes in, Tony, what's your take on the overall story that they're telling so far?
I thought that they were going to really play on the nostalgia for this show, and that it was very good. It was very much going to be a niche, basically sequel to the animated series. But now, being 5 episodes in, I have to say, this is on par with like WandaVision, with Loki. Like it's got a compelling story. It's playing on what we know about the characters, but it's taking us in a different direction than the animated series was ever able to. I mean, it's definitely for an older audience, but it's very high stakes now. And yes, could the potential of them undoing what they've done so far? Maybe. I mean, we're talking about, a group of individuals that has one, the child of some of the characters is in the future and is time traveling. So there's always that potential, but it's a freaking awesome show. And if you're not watching it, you need to go check it out. No need to watch the original series. It would help to go a little bit more deep. The only thing you need to know is Charles Xavier is dead, and they're picking up from there. So that's it. And
you know what? I think I'm going to eat my own words, and I'm going to watch it because because if the Bad Batch taught me anything, it's that cartoons aren't just for kids. Okay, and to be clear, is this also hand-drawn animation?
That I don't know. I think it is. I will say this though, there is a little bit of like a frames per second difference from the original. This could be computer generated. It definitely has some things that make me think of like Across the Spider-Verse, not to that depth, but to the animation style. Like just like at some points you can see the frame rate's a little bit different than the original series.
The crazy thing is it could still be computer drawn, and I know this because of all of the dumb references I'm going to make many, many moons ago when I was in a different line of work, I was actually at E3, the old big gaming convention that would happen in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. And in there, they were showing a video game, but the ships that were flying and shooting, it was something from like manga style animation, but the ships were flying and shooting, and they looked like they were hand-drawn ships because all that takes, much like the exact... Ooh, Benjamin's walking around. It's creating ominous shadows. The thing is, like, especially if you look back at our first experience with Sony's Into the Spider-Verse, right? A lot of that movie's delays was the careful engineering of the filters to give the visual look that movie has, right? So they could do the exact same thing, I'm sure, to make computer generated stuff look just like animated stuff. So that was a really dumb statement. Oh well. But I'm gonna say though, I'm not going to watch the X-Men until if the Bad Batch has completed its run, which I think it has. I might have to watch that first. But then again, maybe I should just do X-Men because it's just a few episodes instead of whole seasons.
I will say this though. I would say if you're gonna want to get the full experience, I would get started now and get caught up, because this is a show that pays off for there being a week in between. Like it gives you time to digest, to feel the episode. These episodes leave off with cliffhangers, or bring you to a point where you're like, what's next? And it's exciting because of the emotional stakes, but at the same time, it brings me back to being that kid watching Saturday morning cartoons and being like, oh, I gotta wait another week for the next one. And it being that thing that you look forward to. It's been a while since Stream Lounge stopped existing, where we could do live streams and be up until 3 a.m. together. I'm now to the point where I'm starting to want to stay up late for Saturdays to be able to, or for Wednesdays to see the next episode, because it's that good.
Hot damn. I'm sure there's a way to replicate the Stream Lounge experience some way.
Somehow.
Anyway, yeah, okay, you've talked me into it. I'll jump into it. I don't know with what free time I will accomplish that in, but I'll do my best. But obviously Tony highly recommends. And like I said, The Bad Batch 2 was a show that taught me that there can be good content. The only thing I will say, though, anything that's done weekly, and what I really appreciated that they did with the Percy Jackson television series, is that they still provided us glimpses or clips of the next week in order to entice us to watch. That truly was a throwback for me to TV when I was a kid, trying to get you to come back next week. I mean, even recently, I think The Flash was doing it on the CW, but that's just my favorite thing. Smallville was great at it until the point where you knew they were just throwing clips at you that made absolutely no sense, nothing contextual, and nothing important.
And what's really cool is like they just did a sneak peek for the rest of the season. And one of the images, I think one of the last images on that like sneak peek was you hear the vibranium sound and you see Captain America's shield land in the snow.
Oh, hell no. No. They're teasing Cap in this thing?
Yep.
Oh, man. Well, you know what? They can now. So why not? Throw everything. You know what? By the end of it, X-Men 97 might tie in to season 3 of What If. You never know.
Oh, what would be really interesting is if you find out that, Hugh Jackman is coming from this universe. Like that's his version of Wolverine.
That would be awesome. That would be an excellent tie-in as well.
Yep.
Okay, guys, there's your recommendations, and that's the show. Why? Because we got started late. We're ending late. I got to go. Tony's got to go. We got other stuff to do. So until next time, I'm Will.
I'm Tony.
Live long and prosper.
And may the force be with you. And thank you for not doing the F you Tony thing again.
You, Tony!
Well, you said it. How could I not?
I love you.
NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a Smodco Internet production. SIP. Only at smodcast.com. Ooh, Tony, I almost forgot. Before we go, I forgot to tell you one thing. Okay. You ready?
Yes.
You, Tony!
I'm a stinker.
I'm glad you're having fun with that.